What do you do when you have nothing to do?
You're a voice actor. You're an entrepreneur. You're a VOPRENEUR. Welcome to the Everyday VOPRENEUR podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover.
Your number one marketing tool is your voiceover demos. When you're posting them online, you want to be sure they're playable on any device and with any browser. The VoiceZam player does exactly that. Sign up at msvo.me/msvoicezam and receive 3 months of VoiceZam for the price of one. Sign up now at msvo.me/msvoicezam.
The VOPRENEUR podcast. Hey, it doesn't suck.
Not as funny as Conan. Not as cute as Seth Meyers. Not as smart as Colbert. But he's one of us, and that counts for something. Here's Mark Scott, the original Everyday VOPRENEUR.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Everyday VOpreneur podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover. I'm Mark Scott, and I'm so excited to have you here for another great episode, and looking forward to hopefully giving you some advice that's going to help you grow your voiceover business. As always, thanks for listening wherever fine podcasts are given away for free, whether that is Google, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and Podbean. And of course, thank you always for taking the time to leave those reviews. So here we are, right in the heart of summer. It's mid-July as I am recording this episode, and the summer slowdown can be a very real thing. In fact, I'm taking a bit of a summer slowdown. One of my goals that I set for myself at the beginning of the year was that I wanted to spend 6 weeks on vacation this year, just enjoying time with family. Whether that was just my immediate family, my wife and my 2 kids, or whether that was extended family, I wanted to enjoy 6 weeks of vacation time this year. I was never really good at taking vacation. When I was working in radio, I just thought, you know what? I was a single guy. I didn't really have any money, as anybody who works in radio can relate to. And so I always used to figure, what was the point of vacation? I might as well just go to work. If all I'm going to do is sit around in my apartment anyway, I might as well just go to work. But one of the things that I have learned is the value in taking time off. And so maybe to a degree, I'm trying to make up for lost time. I'm not really sure, but that was one of the goals I set for myself, was I wanted to put myself in a position where I would be able to take off 6 weeks this year and just spend time with family and not have to worry about it, not have to sweat. So I'm in a bit of my own summer slowdown right now. In fact, I just enjoyed a week off because we had family visiting. Now, when an opportunity came up, a client needed something, I was, of course, taking care of it, but I wasn't in the office working all day, every day like I normally would do. So I figure if the summer slowdown is going to come, maybe that's a really good opportunity for me to slow down for myself. But I know that not everybody is in that situation. So what I want to talk about today are 10 tips for the slow days. Because when the summer slowdown does hit, naturally, we tend to start to sweat a little bit. As entrepreneurs, we don't have a steady, everyday, 9 to 5, paycheck on the 15th and the 30th of the month type situation. If we're not working, we're not making money, so we always want to be working. And when the opportunities aren't there to do the voiceover work, we start to get nervous about where is the next income going to come from. What I want to encourage you to think about today is that there are a lot of other things that you can be doing for your business that all provide value to your business and all can generate income in some way that isn't specifically related to voiceover. Part of this is working on your business, because that is absolutely essential. But for some of you, it's also going to be an exercise in keeping yourself a little bit busy so that you don't have the time to sit around and think, oh my gosh, I haven't worked in insert X number of days here. Because as soon as you get into that mindset, that's going to impact everything that you do. That's going to that stress, that fear, that desperation is going to start to carry over into your auditions and into the interactions that you're having with people, and we don't want that. So if we can keep you busy working, then hopefully you're going to relax and know that people go on vacation in July and August. It happens. The summer slowdown is very real, but it doesn't need to end your business. Don't sweat it. What I want you to do instead is I want you to accept it for what it is. Accept it as a blessing in disguise, because when you're really busy in the studio, all of the other aspects of your business are the very first things that get put off. Those are all the things that you stop working on, And those are all the things that you start falling behind on. And so in reality, what the summer slowdown is, or any slow season that you go through at any point in the calendar year, it's truly a blessing in disguise and an opportunity to get back to work on some of the other important aspects of your business. So here we go. This is 10 tips for the slow days. We're going to start with number 1, which is reach out to old clients. This is the best place to start finding new opportunities. Let me ask you a question, and I've asked this question before. I ask this question all the time. Is there clients in your database that you have not reached out to in more than 3 months? What about clients in your database that you haven't reached out to in more than 6 months? If there are clients who have paid you for voiceover services in the past, and it's been more than 3 or 6 months since you connected with them, there's a very distinct possibility that you're leaving money on the table, that you're missing out on opportunities. The people that have already hired you in the past are the people that are most likely to hire you again in the future, but part of your responsibility as a VOpreneur is keeping yourself top of mind with them. And that means that you can't just book the job, invoice the job, deliver the job, and then sit around waiting until the next job comes. You've got to keep yourself top of mind. So number 1 on the list is reaching out to those old clients. It's going through the database and figuring out who you haven't connected with in a while. And I am not talking about a generic MailChimp letter to update everybody on your summer. No offense, but they don't care. What I am talking about is taking the time to individually connect with each of these former clients, finding a way to connect with them on a personal level, whether it's something that's from the relationship that's already established, or going online and doing a little bit of research and finding something new that you can use as a reason to connect with them, but making each one of those contacts personally, not taking the easy way out with a blanket form letter that isn't going to do the job. These are people that have hired you in the past, and they deserve a little bit more than that. So number 1, reach out to the old clients. And I think I could probably make a sub-point of number 1, and that is, if you don't have a CRM system in place that tells you who these people are, then that is absolutely something that you should be working on during the summer slowdown. Getting yourself into a position where you can look at your database and you can know exactly when the last time was that you contacted every person in that database, and knowing how you contacted them and what you talked about. So that could be like 1B, is making sure that your CRM is up to date and ready to roll. And if you don't have a CRM, getting a CRM. And I'll mention this link now, and I'm also going to throw it into the show notes since we're talking about CRM. markscottcoaching.com/what is CRM. markscottcoaching.com/what is CRM. That is a free webinar that you can watch that is titled, What is CRM and Why Do I Need It? And I will include that link in the show notes so you can check it out. But that might be something else that you want to do during the summer slowdown, is watch that webinar. markscottcoaching.com/what is CRM. Number 2 on the list of what to do on the slow days, make some new contacts on social media. When is the last time that you really dove into Twitter or to Instagram and really took some time to go through your feed and really took some time to do some research and look for some new potential leads on Twitter or Instagram? I have booked work from both of those channels. There are opportunities that exist on both of those channels if you know how to use them and if you are using them effectively. Using hashtag searches on both Instagram and Twitter is a really great way of finding new leads. But beyond that, who's already engaging with the content that you are sharing? So for those of you that know me, maybe you follow me on Facebook or on Instagram, maybe you see sometimes I'm posting pictures of the stuff that I'm cooking in my smoker. You know, posting pictures of the ribs or the brisket or whatever. And when I post that stuff on social media, particularly on Instagram, I put in a whole bunch of related hashtags that are tied into smoking and barbecuing and all that sort of stuff. And I pay attention to who engages with that content. So for example, if I post something about barbecue ribs and then a company that manufactures barbecue sauce likes or comments on that post that I shared on Instagram, that just became a lead. That just became somebody that I can reach out to and potentially talk to about voiceover work, get to know them a little bit better, find out whether or not there's an opportunity for us to work together. So take some time to spend some time on social media, looking for those new engagement opportunities. Who's already engaging with you on Twitter? Who's liking the pictures that you're sharing with on Instagram? Are there production companies that are liking the photos that you're sharing on Instagram, but you haven't followed them back or you haven't reached out to them, sent them a direct message? That's number 2 on the list. I think there can be a lot of ways to create opportunities from social media, particularly Instagram and Twitter. So make that a priority. Spend some time doing that on the days when you've got nothing to do. Number 3 on the list is update your casting site profiles. You know, it's really common for us to set up those casting site profiles and then never look at them again, because now at this point, all we're really concerned with is doing the auditions. But when is the last time that you actually went through and updated that profile? When's the last time you updated the copy, the bio? Does it have your most current profile picture? You know, one of the things that I had to do because I forgot, I'm human too, I had got a new headshot and I had forgot to go through and update that headshot on all of my casting site profiles. So that was something that I made a point of. I don't use a ton of casting site profiles, so it didn't take me very long to do it, but I still had to go through and update Bidalgo and update VOPlanet. Same thing when I got my new e-learning demo done back in February. I had to take the time to jump onto Bidalgo, upload that. I had to take the time to jump on VOPlanet and upload that. I went over to voiceover.biz, which is the online talent directory from World Voices, and I had to update my profile on voiceover.biz, which, by the way, if you are a member of World Voices, that's one that we often forget about because we're not on there doing casting every day, but it's still a really great directory that allows you to put up your demos. And so when's the last time that you went through and updated all of those different casting site promos? Make sure that your latest demos are online. If you've made any changes to your studio or equipment, have you signed on recently with any new major clients that you want to be able to promote? Does it have your most current profile picture? Does it have your most current contact information? Does it have your most current bio? Maybe it's been a couple of years since you updated that biography and maybe a lot has changed in your business since then. So taking some time to jump online and update those profiles can be really advantageous. And as you're writing the copy for those casting site profiles, the other thing you want to think about, is it using the keywords that are best suited to you and your voiceover business and delivery? Make sure that you're finding ways to incorporate some of those keywords so that you're coming up in the searches on those casting sites. So that's number 3. Number 4 on the list is update your VoiceAm player. One of the reasons why I love VoiceAm is because I can update it without having to do an entirely new demo. So let's say I've got my new commercial demo up there, or my new e-learning demo, or my new explainer demo, whatever it is. You've uploaded a brand new demo onto VoiceAm. And that demo's been sitting there for a couple of months since you'd had it done. But then you book a really awesome project that you're really, really proud of. And you've got expressed permission from the client to use a clip from that project. Now you have the ability to grab a 5 or 6 or 10-second clip from that project and upload it to your VoiceAm player. It's one of the ways that you can constantly keep the player fresh. Yeah, you want to make sure that your professionally produced demos are always there, but projects that you've worked on are still a reflection of your work. For the longest time, that was all I had for demos. In fact, my explainer demo is still strictly projects that I've worked on. My e-learning demo was strictly projects that I had worked on until I recently did my latest demo with Anganguza. So all of that stuff that you're doing becomes something that you can put into your VoiceAm player to keep it fresh, to keep it updated, to keep it current. But always make sure that you have expressed permission from the client before you ever post any of that stuff to your VoiceAm player. And when you're updating your VoiceAm player, make sure you're updating it with the right keywords with each one of those tracks that you post. And for those of you that aren't using VoiceAm, if you want to find out more about it, I love VoiceAm. I am proud to promote VoiceAm. I'm proud to be affiliated with VoiceAm. msvo.me/MSVoiceAm. msvo.me/MSVoiceAm, and I'll include that link in the show notes as well. You can sign up at that link and you can get 3 months of VoiceAm for the price of 1. Absolutely worth it. So maybe that's like 4B, right? So 4A is update your VoiceAm player. 4B, if you're not using VoiceAm, maybe now's a really good time to check it out and take advantage of that offer. 3 months of VoiceAm for the price of 1 at msvo.me/MSVoiceAm. Number 5 on the list, summer reading. You know, we just did a podcast episode on this, episode 19. If you want to go back and listen to that one, if you haven't already, I reached out to everyday VOpreneurs and asked them about the books that they were reading and got some really great suggestions on books that can have an impact on your voiceover business. And I also shared a number of my favorite books as well. All told, within that episode, there's probably about 10 different book recommendations. It is absolutely worth checking out. But one of the things that I want to encourage you with, taking advantage of the summer slowdown, or again, any slow season within your business, to better yourself, to educate yourself, to learn new things. And one of the best things that you can do is read books on marketing, sales, entrepreneurship, biographies of entrepreneurs, which is one of my favorite things to read, and books on social media as well. You know, by default, we go out and we look for books about voiceover. And those are good. Those have value. Those are important. I've read many of those myself. But if you really want to expand as a VOpreneur, if you really want to start growing your business and taking it to new heights, reading other books that are related to those types of things, that is when you're really going to start to blossom as a VOpreneur. So take advantage of the slow days. Man, one of my favorite things to do when I've got an extra hour in the afternoon is to take a book, sit out on a zero-gravity chair beside my pond out in the garden, and just read for an hour. I make that a point. Like, reading is something that is scheduled into my calendar. I make a point of trying to spend at least 30 to 60 minutes reading every single day. One of the reasons why I'm in the position now, being able to coach and help other people to become VOpreneurs, is because of everything that I have learned from the dozens or probably hundreds of books that I have read on entrepreneurship, on sales, on marketing, on business, on social media, on all of these different subjects. So absolutely taking time to read, you're never going to go wrong. You're never going to go wrong when you are working to improve yourself and increase your education. So that's number 5 on the list. Read a book on marketing, sales, entrepreneurship, biographies, social media, and make sure that you check out episode 19 of the VOpreneur podcast if you haven't already. That is titled Book Recommendations by Everyday VOpreneurs for Everyday VOpreneurs. The voice acting community is one of the most giving communities that you will ever encounter. On any given day, there is so much advice being handed out, whether it's through Facebook, through YouTube, through blogs, podcasts, other forms of social media. So many people are looking to help. And I believe that one of the reasons for that is because as we all get better at running our voiceover businesses, it's better for the industry as a whole. Here's the challenge. Just because somebody has a YouTube channel or a Twitter following or has the capacity to write a blog doesn't specifically mean that they're somebody that you should be taking advice from. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to compile a resource of people that I knew could be trusted and collect advice from them. I reached out to 35 industry mentors, and I asked every one of them the same question. If you could give a voice actor one piece of advice, what would it be? I reached out to people like Joe Cipriano, Pat Fraley, Nancy Wolfson, Joan Baker, Chuck Duran, Everett Oliver, J. Michael Collins, Mary Lynn Wisner, Jeffrey Umberger, and so many more. 35 people in the voiceover industry that I know, respect, and trust, and that I know will give good advice to you. I took all of this advice and I compiled it together into a free ebook called One Piece of Advice. And that ebook is available at markscottcoaching.com/one piece of advice. This is an opportunity for you to learn for free from some of the most respected people in our industry, to take their advice and use it to make yourself better and grow your voiceover business. You can download that free ebook now at markscottcoaching.com/one piece of advice.
Now back to our show.
Carrying on with the list now, we are up to number 6 of 10 things to do during the summer slowdown. Number 6 on the list is update your books and send invoice reminders. Once upon a time, before I got organized, I was the guy, 2 or 3 days before I had to get all of my tax stuff submitted to my accountant, who was pulling 8 hours in the office every day. updating all of my books, updating my expenses, trying to find receipts, trying to make sure that everything was entered, trying to make sure that the accountant was going to have all of the information that he needed to have. And then after doing that for about 2 or 3 years in a row, I decided that it pretty much sucked and I didn't want to do it that way anymore. And so I made a point of scheduling a couple hours in my calendar at the end of every month where I would go through and do updating. So I will sit down at the end of the month with my bank statements, with my Visa statements, and I'll make sure that everything that needs to get entered into my bookkeeping software gets entered into my bookkeeping software. But I'm also doing it as I go. So if I run out to Staples and I pick up a new printer cartridge, I take a picture of that receipt with the app from Wave. I use waveapps.com for my bookkeeping, and I upload that right in the parking lot at Staples before I even leave. So I'm trying to keep things updated on a regular basis. But if you haven't created those systems for yourself yet, maybe now during the slowdown is a really good opportunity for you to sit down and work on getting caught up with all of your expenses, with all of your receipts, with all of that paperwork. And maybe now is a good time to sit down and send out invoice reminders for any of those outstanding invoices that have gone beyond 30 days with your clients. It's time to reconnect with those people and remind them that those invoices are out there. And again, if you're looking for really great software to be able to do this, free software that is helping you to be able to do this, waveapps.com is what I use. It's what I recommend. I've been using it for several years now. It's actually what was recommended to me by my accountant. And again, waveapps.com. I'll include that link in the show notes if you want to check that one out. Spend some time getting that set up, getting your books caught up to date. Number 7 on the list. This is kind of a general one, but I'm going to say update your website. But there are some specific things that I want to dig into that you can do on your website. Lots of times we get our website set up and then we never look at it again until we decide that it's time for another new website. But when it becomes stagnant, when you're not doing anything new on it, that's going to impact your ability to come up in search engines. So there are some things that you can do to your website just to give it a quick refresh, just to get yourself searched by the Google bots again so you can improve your SEO. So one of the first things that I would suggest looking at is your About page. And I'll tell you what brought this one on, because I realized recently that I desperately need to update my About page. It's been a long time. It's been a couple of years since I updated my About page. And so that's one of the things that I've put into my schedule for the coming weeks is to spend some time sitting down and rewriting all of the content on my About page and looking for some new pictures and stuff to just refresh that page. So when's the last time that was updated on your website? The place to tell your story isn't on your homepage. When you want to talk about yourself and your experience and your training and what you bring to the table and all that sort of stuff, that's what your About page is for. And if you haven't updated yours in a while, now would be a really good time to do it. The other thing that you can do when it comes to updating your website is checking the mobile friendliness of it. And I did an entire podcast episode on this recently as well, and you can go back and check that one up. It's called 5 Tips for a Mobile-Friendly Website. That was episode 17 of the podcast. Go back and listen to that, and then determine whether or not your website has complete mobile friendliness. And sometimes figuring that out is as easy as checking out your website on your phone or on a tablet, but that's something that you can do to update your website. Something else, have you been nominated for a Voice Arts Award, or have you won a Voice Arts Award, or any other award for that matter? Have you included that information on your website? Has it been updated? Are there any new clients that you're working with now that you need to get posted onto your website? Is there any new equipment or studio upgrades that you've made that you want to get posted onto your website? Do you have a new profile picture that you need to get put up because you recently had some headshots done? Have you signed with a new agent? All of your agent contact information should be on a contact page on your website. That information should be there because it adds credibility to you as a voice actor when people can come online and see that you are represented by actual agents. So making sure that all of that is there. Are you a World Voices member? Do you have the badge on your website? Do you have a Volvo approved studio, which is a program that World Voices runs? Do you have that badge on your website? Have you recently added Source Connect or IPDTL to your studio? You can get badges for that you can put on your website. So just taking the time, spend an hour just reading through your website and trying to determine whether or not everything is fresh and current. And if there's anything that you can do to update, the Summer Slowdown is a really great time to do that. Number 8 on the list is adding your demos to LinkedIn. A lot of people didn't realize that this is possible, but courtesy of some partnerships that LinkedIn has, you can, through SoundCloud or through YouTube, get your voiceover demos linked directly from your LinkedIn profile. So if somebody finds you on LinkedIn, rather than having to click off onto your website and then try and find your demos and throwing in those couple of extra steps, straight from your LinkedIn profile, they can listen to your demos. And this is something that I did a couple of years ago, putting my demos on my profile, and it works. It works. It has been directly responsible for bookings on LinkedIn because I've made it easy for people. Right from my profile, they can find out about me, they can get a sense of the services that I offer, they can listen to my demos, and they can find the contact information that they need to get a hold of me. So making sure that your demos are updated on your LinkedIn is really important, and that is a great thing that you can do during one of the slow days that is absolutely going to add value to your business. And since you're looking at LinkedIn anyway, let's throw this in as 8B. When's the last time you updated your LinkedIn profile? Make sure that that is current. Make sure that it has all the latest information. Make sure that your bio is written with the appropriate keywords and that your demos are there and your contact information is current and your studio information is current. And if you want some tips on how to use LinkedIn, markscottcoaching.com, go to the website. I offer a LinkedIn training program that you can watch. It's called Making Money with LinkedIn. And within that program, I'm going to teach you how to update your profile to get the all-star status and to complete it to the maximum potential. And I'm also going to show you a lot of different ways that you can use LinkedIn to generate new leads and clients for your voiceover business. In fact, one of the biggest jobs that I've been working on for the last 6 weeks is a monster e-learning project, and that came from LinkedIn and from an opportunity that I found on LinkedIn. So if you're interested in that training, Making Money with LinkedIn, that's available at markscottcoaching.com. As we continue on with the list of 10 things to do on the slow days, we're up to number 9. Find 20 new leads. The reality is that even if you got nothing going on in the studio and you feel like there's nothing happening, you know what is possible? Maybe it has to do with vacation. Maybe it has to do with clients that are off work because it is July. Or maybe it has to do with the fact that your marketing efforts aren't what they need to be. There should never be a reason for you to have a slow day in the studio because even if you're not recording, then you should absolutely be marketing. Every extra hour that you have that isn't spent in the studio that you're devoting to your business on a given day, you could be devoting it to marketing. You could go out this afternoon and you could find 20 new leads and get them into your pipeline, get them into your CRM, send those introductory emails, and keep working on that. There should never be an excuse for you to not know what to do with your time because you can always be doing marketing, in addition to all of the other things that have already been listed. So go out and find 20 new leads. And when you're done, if you still haven't got work, go find 20 more. And finally, to finish off this list, number 10, connect with 5 colleagues and do a 30-minute or a 60-minute workout session. Voiceover can be very isolating. Yes, we have our online communities. I'm so grateful for the VOPRENEUR community on Facebook and for the interaction that takes place there as we comment back and forth and give each other advice and encouragement through the status updates or through the Free Advice Friday that takes place. But we don't always have the opportunity to get together and practice with each other outside of doing it at conferences and things like that. And with the technology that exists today, it's so easy to jump on to Zoom or to Skype, connect with a few people, and just go through some workouts. Do some script reads with each other. Give each other some thoughts, some feedback, some constructive criticism. It's a really great opportunity to connect, which in and of itself can be incredibly encouraging, but it's also an opportunity to do a little bit of practice, to learn, and to grow. And I know that if you wanted to do something like this and you posted it in the VOPRENEUR group on Facebook, for example, I'm sure there are people that would be more than willing to set something up where you can connect with 5 people for 30 minutes during the week and just do some practice scripts with each other. And there are lots of practice scripts that you can find online, even through Edge Studio and other places. So there's no reason why you couldn't work on something like that. All of these tips are designed to remind you that you are so much more than a voice actor. Being in the studio doing the recording, that's the part that we all love. But that's only a small portion of what is actually involved in being a VOpreneur. That's only a small portion of what is involved in running a business. And this list of 10 is only the tip of the iceberg. Honestly, I could probably sit here and give you another 10, 20, 30, 40. I could probably do an episode like this for the next 5 weeks if I wanted to. But as you listen to these, hopefully it also prompts you to some other things that you could be working on. Do not sit around and get stressed in the slow seasons. Accept them as a blessing of time and use them to work on all of the other important aspects of your business that need to be addressed. Let's quickly recap the list. Number 1, reach out to old clients. There should not be a single past client in your database that you haven't connected with in more than 3 months. Make that a priority. And in addition to that, it's time to update your CRM or get a CRM. Make some new contacts on social media. Take advantage of Twitter and Instagram to see who is engaging with your content already and make those connections. Number 3, update your casting site profiles. Make sure that everything is fresh and current. Number 4, update your VoiceAm player. And if you aren't using VoiceAm, maybe now's the time to sign up for it. Number 5 on the list, spend some time reading some books. Really good books, not just voiceover books. Books on marketing, sales, entrepreneurship, biographies of entrepreneurs, books about social media, and check out episode 19 of the Everyday VOpreneur podcast for some more suggestions. Number 6, update your bookkeeping and send those invoice reminders. Get your expense report done so that you're not stressing at tax time. Number 7, update your website. Make sure your about page is refreshed. Make sure that your website is mobile friendly. Check out episode 17 of the podcast for more tips on that. And make sure that all of the latest content and relevant news and information about your business is on there. Awards, new clients, new equipment, new picks, all of that sort of stuff. Get your agents up there. Everything needs to be updated and current on your website. Spend some time working on that. Number 8, add your demos to LinkedIn, which you can do courtesy of SoundCloud, or you can also do with YouTube. I'm going to post a video in the show notes that will show you exactly how to do this, so you can check that out on the show notes. And maybe it's time to invest in making money with LinkedIn, which is my training program, my masterclass on using LinkedIn to book voiceover work. If you got a slow time, now might be the good time to get an education. And I'll post a link for that as well in the show notes. Number 9 on the list, get out there and find 20 new leads. At the end of the day, there is no excuse for you to have slow time because you can always be doing marketing. So go find 20 new people, get them into your CRM, and send those introductory emails, and make sure that you set the reminders for future follow-up as well. And number 10 on the list, connect with 5 colleagues and do a 30-minute or a 60-minute workout session. Spend some time supporting each other, encouraging each other, and learning and growing together. There is never a reason for you to have a slow day. Think about all of the different things that you can be doing to help to grow your voiceover business. And as you take those actions and put in that effort, I promise you, there will be return. One way, somehow, an opportunity is going to come. You're going to find it. You're going to be prompted to it. You're going to be encouraged to look for it. It's going to tip you off on another idea, on a way to do some marketing. Doing those social media connections is going to connect you to your next great client. Getting your demos up on LinkedIn is going to open the door for an opportunity. All of these things, though not directly related to getting in the studio, add value to your business. And all of these things are things that you can be working on the slow days. The most important lesson in all of this, though, don't sweat the summer slowdown. It's not the end of your business. It's just vacation. Speaking of which, I'm going back to mine. Thanks so much for listening to this episode, guys. Thank you again for leaving your reviews on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and Podbean. I do appreciate all of those reviews. Thanks for sharing this episode as well at VOPRENEUR.com. I'll catch you on the next one.
The Everyday VOpreneur podcast. Available everywhere fine podcasts are given away for free. Mostly, we think.
Your number one marketing tool is your voiceover demos. When you're posting them online, you want to be sure they're playable on any device and with any browser. The VoiceAm player does exactly that. Sign up at msvo.me/msvoicesam and receive 3 months of VoiceAm for the price of 1. Sign up now at msvo.me/msvoicesam.
And scene.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for hanging out. Want more VOpreneur goodness? Jump online at VOpreneur.com.